All right. Hello, everybody. Today, we're talking about what is good character design. So good versus bad character design. This is specifically, obviously, Marvel Rivals. So we're going to list everything out. We're going to do it in tier list format because I think it's going to be an easy way to organize everything. First things first, though, this notepad, we're going to go over what I deem as good versus bad character design first. Then we'll go through all the characters and apply that metric to each one of them. I think that'll be the best way to do it to avoid confusion and arguing. So, number one, good character design, fun to play. Very simple, short, sweet, to the point, but like actually so necessary. It needs to be fun to play. If the character's not fun to play, I would call that as bad design. Because it's a game at the end of the day, right? So, number one, fun to play. Number two, this one's a bit goofy, but not awful play. There's probably a better way to do this. Play against. So these two go hand in hand. It has to be fun to play, and it has to be not awful to play against. Now, I'm specifically saying not awful because it can be a little bit annoying, but it can't be awful. Okay? I know, like, some characters are kind of annoying, but as long as it doesn't, like, cross that point. And that's a part where you guys can definitely argue with me and be like, okay, I think this does cross the line of being, like, from kind of annoying to, like, awful to play against. So, yeah. So we'll see. Those are the two big ones. Fun to play, not awful to play against. And then that kind of covers most things. Unless there's something else you guys can think of. But, like, really, that's kind of all there is, to be honest. I guess, like, because if you want to talk about, like, balance, right? Balance is encapsulated in these two things. If the character is terrible, then they're not going to be really fun to play. Okay? If the character is super broken and, like, OP, they're not going to be fun to play against, right? So those, like, go hand in hand. So I think we're probably gonna this smaller. Ooh. Yeah, very simple, fun to play, not awful to play against. Oh boy. This is what everything is going to be matched. Balance is fluid from season to season, right? And balance can, like, easily change. It's not, like, design focused, okay? So that's all we're looking at. We're looking at, is the character fun to play and is it not awful to play against? Okay? So, with that said, and maybe we'll update that and we'll add more as we go. But Angela, I'm going to put Angela in problematic. She's very fun to play. She can be really annoying to play against. I don't think she needs a full rework, but she's just, like, lacking. Like, when she's in the game, she does force certain playstyles, which I think is fine. I don't think it fully tips the scales, but it's scary, right? Like, so this is also a character where numbers changes. If the numbers change goes in her favor, this can be completely miserable to play against. Like Strange, Magneto, Groot, although Groot now has the Iron Wall buff, right? Like, even Penny, Venom, these all just get absolutely bodied by Angela, and it's, like, not fun to play against. So I'll put her in problematic. In order to, like, resilience to balance changes. Oh, that's a good one. Okay, let's see. How would we yeah, just resiliency to balance changes. I'll change in meta. Change in meta / balance. I think that'll work. Okay. Readjust that. There we go. I like that. I really like that a lot. So with Angela, the reason that like she's not in needs number changes is because if you change her numbers, it's like really easy to completely break this character. And so in order to actually fix her, you're going to have to do something more than just numbers. Like her idea of kidnapping people, which I think is cool and unique, but the reason why unique is not on here is because unique doesn't make it fun. Okay? It's like, it's really annoying when you get kidnapped by Angela. That's just, it is what it is. And the amount of annoyance is not as fun. Like the balance between annoying to play against and fun is very on the annoying side for Angela and not on the fun side. It's not like that fun to kidnap people. The reason she's not in complete rework though is because there's counterplay to it. And there is kind of a fun balance of like, if I'm playing Magneto, it's like, I have to keep an eye out. I need to watch my positioning, right? If I'm playing Hulk, I have to keep an eye out. I watch my positioning. Don't jump near a pit. Don't go too deep to where you're going to get like, you know, captured and dropped in their backline, stuff like that. She also jumps in power tiers pretty drastically depending on map. Yeah, map as well. Dependence. So, also, she has a basic problem of like the devs not knowing what they want to do with her because they initially made her this super unique, you know, like kidnap tank flying thing that like doesn't exist almost anywhere in other games and definitely doesn't exist in any other character in the cast. And then ever since release, they realized that was like problematic. And so now they're turning her more into a brawl style playlist. Like with each change, they're buffing the axe form and the things she does on the ground. And then they're nerfing her flying mode. Like almost every single change to Angela has been that. But then you come across the problem of like, now what is the point of that character? Right? Why don't I just play Hulk and like brawl, or Thing and brawl, or Thor and brawl? Like Thor literally does everything Angela does in her axe form, but better. So why not just do that? So yeah, problematic. Hulk is somewhere here. I would obviously I'm gonna show my bias here because like I love Hulk. I'm a Hulk main. I think he's great. I think he has, oh shoot, I need to add more things. High skill ceiling. I think high skill ceiling is really important to good character design. That alone makes Hulk like so much better. I'm not gonna put high skill floor because I don't think that's necessary to good character design. I don't think it's necessary. I think that as long as you have some characters in the game that are low skill floor just to get people in the door, then that's fine. But I don't think a character needs to have a low skill ceiling. So high skill ceiling, or sorry, low skill floor. High skill ceiling is great for Hulk. I think that Hulk has seen so many buffs and changes over the course of like the past 7 seasons, but he never really swings super far with the one exception of his team ups, right? Usually the reason Hulk is banned is because he has a broken team up and people don't want to ban the team up character, so they ban Hulk, right? So it's just like, it's a goofy spot that he's in, but that just kind of shows how resilient he is to these balance changes. The funny thing is, people think he's like finally an S tier. I think he's like an A, maybe high B, low A, something like that. But it's only if you're amazing at the character, which is more a testament to the high skill ceiling and not a testament to just like bad design. Like he's just good because he's good. Team ups are not included in this for a reason. They do not reflect character design. That's not technically true. I want to include team ups because I'm just gonna look up team ups as I'm gonna think of team ups as just another ability. Ooh, good stuff, Jake. All right, Captain America. I don't know. Yo, what's up, Denny? Captain America is goofy for me. I actually don't know where to put him. Because I want to put him up here and, like, mostly fine. But number 3, this part, resiliency to change and meta balance, like, this is where it gets iffy. Because, like, if you change some of the numbers on Cap, like, it's very easy to break this character. We saw this with his ult. Like, they changed his ult, added the bonus, and then he just, like, lived forever. And, like, was just an annoyance. But he is fun to play. He has a very high skill ceiling. And he's kind of annoying to play against. So, I'm not sure where to put Cap. Maybe just in... He's, like, in between here for me. I might put him in needs number changes. But, I don't know. It's also, I think a lot of people are scared and don't like playing against Captain America, but I don't think it's from a good, I don't think it's in reality. Because, like, so often in the VOD reviews, I'll be reviewing a support or whatever. A Captain America jumps in and they panic. They throw their bubble. They use all of their cooldowns, like, immediately. And I have to slow it down and show them, like, here's Captain America, okay? He's doing the animation cancels. He's attacking you. And look how slowly your health goes down, right? His time to kill is very long. It takes a while, even the best Captain Americas. Because if they use all of their abilities to actually pull off one of those combos and, like, hit all of them magically and, like, delete you, it still won't fully kill you. It'll put you really low. And he's now used all of his cooldowns. So he's, like, most of the time he's going to be dead. So that's why I'm like, I don't know. I'm willing to move Captain America. Strange I think is great. Oh, wait. Mostly fine. I just remember the Portal. Portal is a crutch for Strange. It's both a crutch and, like, a problem. Everything else on Strange is fine. He has a high skill ceiling. He's very fun to play. Nobody hates playing against a Strange. I think he's fine. I think his ult is great. It's well balanced. I think you could be super creative with it. I think the portals are mostly fine. I think that allows high skill ceilings. I think the only problem with portals is, like, it is a crutch at the end of the game, but it's not, like, that bad. I did hear a suggestion, and I forget who said this in chat. Maybe it was Churro or Jake, but they said if you change the portal to where you can't use it within, like, the first, I don't know, 30 seconds or, like, 15 seconds of when you switch to him, then it kind of eliminates that, like, last second portal thing that is kind of weird. I don't know how I feel about it, but it's interesting. I think portal... Oh, that was Lord? Okay, perfect. Yeah, so it's interesting. He is mostly fine. Honestly, for the purpose of this list, he's fantastic. It's just that one little bit with the portal that's just, like, a little weird. Maybe. Emma. Emma's also in a weird spot where if we were doing this tier list, like, 4 seasons ago, I would have put Emma in problematic. But I would have been wrong because they did a bunch of number changes, and I think she's mostly fine now. I think for so long, she was just such a terror to other tanks that, like, she would just demolish every tank, and it was really annoying to play against. I think now that they've adjusted the numbers, that she's actually, like, well designed. She has a lot of strengths, but she also has a lot of weaknesses that are, like, pretty easy to exploit. Especially with the long cooldown of Diamond Form. Yeah. We know she has the tools to be toxic if balanced poorly. Yeah, for sure. For sure. Yeah, I wouldn't put her in green because we have seen her be completely broken. Like I said, like, this character can be broken. But I think with all the new tanks that they've added since she's been in the game, all the new characters and things, it really... I think she's in a good spot right now. I think she's mostly fine. I think, I'm not going to say there's, like, one thing to point out with her. It's just, if the balance is wrong, she could be broken. But I think we're good for now. Groot. I don't know. I'm going to show my bias here. Not as bad as Angela, but I think Groot is problematic. I think let's talk about fun to play. Groot's kind of fun to play. I think you have to be a special type of person to enjoy playing Groot. Groot is pretty awful to play against. Groot can be terrible to have on your team. Like, having a bad Groot on your team is actually so awful. And we see that a lot in low elo. We see it so much. So resiliency to change in meta balance. I think Groot's pretty resilient to stuff like that. He doesn't shoot up and down like crazy, with like one exception, with like basic number changes. And then he does have a high skill ceiling. But I think just that the whole design of the character revolves around like walls and controlling lines of sight of people, and I don't find that mechanic to be fun to play or fun to play against. I think sometimes it can be fun, like a little bit. Like if you do it with, you know, Strange, Magneto, and Emma, you throw up a shield in between an enemy tank and their supports, right? That's kind of a fun mechanic. But to play against is really annoying. And then you have the added effect of like, when you're walled off from an Emma shield, your camera is fine. When you're walled off from a Groot wall, it destroys your camera. And like, it's really annoying to play against. And then there's all like, then you start getting supports screaming at DPS because they're like, oh my gosh, can you please get off BP? We need somebody to shoot the walls. The walls aren't going down. And then half the time the supports are like positioned badly anyway. So even if the walls weren't there, they still wouldn't see their tanks. So I think he just kind of exemplifies some of it. So I'm going to leave him in problematic. I think his ult is well designed. I think his primary fire is like fine. But yeah, he's so one-dimensional. And I think the thing that he's one-dimensional around is his walls, and which are not fun to play against. I'm going to leave Groot in problematic. Not as bad as Angela, but not great. Magneto. Easy. Easy, great design. High skill ceiling. Nobody hates playing against the Magneto. Even Cloak and Dagger players who say they hate it, they just hate the ult. And even then, that's a skill issue. He's not awful to play against. He's fun to play. He's very rewarding to get like good with that character. Getting good with his primary fires, getting good with the dunks. I think he's fine. I think for me personally, he's a little boring because he's slow. But there's plenty of people who actually find this character fun. He has an extreme resilience to change in meta and balance. There's always going to be people playing Mag. I don't think Mag has been lower than A tier since the game came out. Like, at all. I think the only people who are in Mag jail are people who don't understand the game. Talking about Magneto and using the words fun. Yeah, I think Magneto can be really fun. Like, think about some of the like best moments of Magneto is hitting a combo, right? You hit the left click, right click, left click, sword, and you just delete somebody. That's awesome. You dunk on somebody, you kill a support out of like the most powerful thing in the game. That's fun. You completely cancel out an enemy's ult, like an Iron Man, yeah, and then you just suck it up, or you bubble the person that they shot. Like, that can be really fun. Now, it's not fun for everybody. Like I said, I don't even personally enjoy Mag, but I can see that how he's fun. So I think Mag is very well designed. I think Mag's great. Oh boy, Penny Parker needs complete rework. Oh boy, oh boy. Penny is one of those characters that like is not very fun to play, is awful to play against. If you change any of the numbers on Penny, she can go from being like the best tank in the game to the worst tank in the game, back to the best tank in the game. Like, she is both the best tank in the game and the worst tank in the game at any given patch, just based on elo alone. She does have a high skilling, that's like her saving grace, but it's bad. She's also, yeah, her stupidly map dependent, absolutely. So like, so if you're going to change Penny, what you need to do is give her a different way to control space. I say this a lot in VOD reviews. I just made a video on it of like how you contest space and hold space as a tank is you're a threat, right? So Penny's whole threat is if you walk into my nest area, you'll die, so you can't walk into my nest area. I don't think that mechanic is fun for the Penny player. I don't think it's fun to play against. And so I need her to have a different way of doing it. I also think that her primary fire is pretty boring. I haven't played her recently. I think there was a change in either 7 or 7.5, Season 7 or Season 7.5, where she's faster while she's shooting. I think that's a big step in the right direction. Notice how we've talked about all this stuff. Well, hang on. So I think changing her primary fire, making her more of a threat with herself instead of her nests, and then changing her nests to be, instead of her threat level, change her nest to be like a positive thing for your team instead of a threat level. I think if you did that, most of the problems with the character will be fixed. Notice that, like, we haven't even talked about her stun that she has every, like, 3.5, 4 seconds. That's insane. That is so much CC, and, like, it's so far down on the list of things that we need to talk about, which is just insane with how bad, like, this character is designed. It's sad. Her ult is just, like, not fun to use, not fun to play against. It doesn't even good. Like, yeah, complete rework. They need to make this character... I really do think that if you changed it to her nest being more for survivability and like a team bonus versus area denial, and then you give her tools of area denial, make her like a little bit quicker, make her primary fire, maybe even give her a secondary fire, like instead of throwing mines that shoots like rockets or something. Like, that's so much better. So much better. Yeah, the ult's terrible. So, complete rework. Our first character that just like needs to be completely reworked. Rogue, put Rogan mostly fine. I think she's great. I think she's definitely really fun to play. She has a ton of buttons that people love using. She is not awful to play against. I don't find many people who are like, God, I hate Rogue. She's just kind of like mildly annoying. I think she has a high skill ceiling. I think that she's been roughly in a very steady spot on like C and B tier pretty much her whole existence. She does need some number changes, just like slight number changes, to be a little bit better as far as the tier goes, but not as far as like just character design. Like raw character design, I think she's fine. As far as like balance of the game, she could use a little bit of a buff here and there. But I think that buffing her numbers a little bit wouldn't cause massive changes, so I think she's fine. With Gambit team up, she's the best tank in the game? I don't agree. I think the Gambit team up is it's just a way of showing that like she does need a little bit of a change in her numbers, her base numbers. So once the Gambit team up is gone, this character is going to be so much easier to balance because you won't have 2 levels of her damage, right? And her sustain. Where like without it, she's bad, but if you buff her, then that moves these up or makes the team up worthless, right? So so if this is just her regularly and this is her with the team up, right? If you buff this, then you either make this team up worthless and there's no point, or you make this, you know, sequential. So now this is even better. And so this will be like A tier and this is just like completely busted. So once that team up is gone, I think this character is going to be great. And then they can buff her a little bit here and there and she'll be in a good spot. Thing. I think Thing's great. I'm trying to think of like everything about that character. He's fun to play. The only people who hate playing against him are like low skill, brain dead dive characters. And even then, they're like, it's, as somebody who plays a lot of dive characters, it's kind of a fun mix up of, oh, they have a Thing in the game now. Like, I have to think differently. Like, it changes the game. It's not just Thing is in the game, I'm worthless now. I don't think it's that straightforward because there's trade-offs to the character. Also, he has a lot of like really bad weaknesses that are really easy to exploit. So like fighting against Hela, Hawkeye, Elsa, Punisher, Widow, like all this range stuff is pretty brutal. Even like Psylocke, a lot of the DPS love playing against Thing. A lot of the tanks don't mind playing against Thing. Like he's kind of like a battery, just a big battery for Emma, for Strange, for Groot, just to get damage and like get easy ult charge, stuff like that. I think Thing is fine. I don't think he needs to change at all. I think he's great. Or is problematic. Thor is definitely problematic. I think he... Oh, boy. Bro, Thor has just been in a weird spot. Thor is kind of just a bully in every sense of the word. Like, he's big, he's in the way, he pushes people around, he does a ton of damage, and, like, his ult is, like, not really fun to use, not fun to play against. It's either, like, way too counterable, because, for those of you who don't know, a long time ago, the Thor's ult wasn't CC immune. So he would just fly up in the air and he'd be like, behold, and then he would instantly get stunned. But now it's completely CC immune. So it's just kind of like, and it's like really slow and awkward. And like, I don't know, man. He is really fun to play. I have a lot of people in our server who love playing Thor. There's that. But he's so annoying to play against. Like, it doesn't matter what tank you play, outside of maybe Thing. They all hate playing against Thor. He's just a pain. He's just so annoying. He's not fun to play against as any DP. I can't think of a single DPS. Maybe Iron Fist that's like has a good matchup against Thor. All of the supports hate playing against Thor. I don't know, man. The thing is, though, I don't know how you could change that character. I don't know how you can. Thor hate? It's not that I hate it. It's just, I think it's bad character design. I don't think he's fun to play against. I think he's awful to play against as a character. And I don't know how you would change him. I really don't. I don't think it needs a complete rework, but I think it does need, like, some major adjustments. Rogue is decent into Thor. I don't. If at best, I would say it's even, but it's annoying. I saw Mr. Fantastic get 360 kidnapped on the map by a Thor in console. Yeah, dude, it's annoying and it's absurd. And once again, we want to look at the ratio between fun to play and awful to play against. And for Thor, it's like here, right? Thor's pretty fun to play, but like he's just so awful to play against. Yeah, it's bad. He's also one of those characters that's like both slow and fast. Okay, Venom. I'll put Venom as mostly fine. Maybe even great design. Somewhere up there. I think he's really fun to play. I think he has a really high skill ceiling. I think he's pretty resilient to a change in the meta. Actually, this doesn't need to be highlighted anymore. Yeah, I think Venom's great. Fun to play, not awful to play against. I think a lot of... He kind of has a similar thing as Cap, where a lot of supports really are scared of Venom because he's annoying, but they don't look at their health bar and see how little damage he actually does. So, yeah. I'm going to put him, like, up here, honestly. I think he's great. I think... I have seen sometimes, and especially in high elo, like right now in season 7.5, I'm pretty sure he's really good, and a lot of people hate that. I'm not gonna put him in great design, but I think it's almost there. It's like right on the border. He's good. He has fun combos. He has really fun movement. Again, he's not awful to play against. He's kind of a tickle monster and can be a little bit annoying, but there's a what is it? There's a counterplay to it, right? There's a rock, paper, scissors where it's like, okay, is he going for the ult combo? Do I need to use my push early and keep him from getting in? Or is he doing more of a soft dive and then do I pull him back when he's trying to get out, right? I think he has some fun tank matchups and he can just be everywhere. I think he's great. Venom has been consistently decent to great since launch. I've seen current best tank thrown around. Yeah. Big V and Cap are considered top 3 tanks. The only time Venom is truly scary is when he has his ult. Yeah. I think he's good. Okay. Black Cat? I don't really know. I'm just going to leave Black Cat in needs number changes. Season 5 released, I think, 2 weeks ago. And I don't think people have figured out this character quite yet. I've seen, like, in all the games I've played, which admittedly is not many because I mostly coach now, I've seen Black Cat be an actual menace in one game. One. So she's very fun to play. I don't think she's that awful to play against, but there's potential. We haven't seen a balance change yet. I think the skill ceiling is incredibly high, so I will probably end up putting her up here. But the one thing that was really annoying is she can kind of spam that, like, Earthbound move, which is kind of annoying. But she doesn't really feel fluid to me at all. So that's the thing that I think will change with time and not with number changes, but I'm not certain. So honestly, I should probably just make like a new tier off to the side with Black Cat just being like complete unknown, honestly. Not quite there yet. EP, problematic for sure. I think that if you look at fun to play, very fun to play. Awful to play against? Absolutely. Every support hates playing against this character. Every tank hates playing against this character. Most DPS hate having a BP in the game. I'm not going to put it in needs complete rework, though, for one reason. And I think that if you literally change the AoE on the character and maybe give him more stuff, I think that would be fine. I don't think he needs a complete rework. If you make it more of a skill shot, change the AoE on the spear to where you actually have to hit somebody and make the dash just a little bit more skillful, I think you'll be fine. Honestly. I really think that's all it is. It also gets completely removed if he gets grounded. Yeah. I feel like if you miss your dash, you literally cannot influence the game for 12 seconds is unhealthy. That's true, but the only reason that is there is because of the balance mechanic. Because if that's not there, then it's not worth it. So if you change the AoE, you could even reduce his damage and reduce the cooldown to make BP more active in the game for longer, give him more dashes, give him those crazy resets and stuff like that. But don't make it show up, insta-kill anybody, takes almost no skill because the AoE is massive. Like, I don't know if you guys have actually looked at it. Have any of you looked at how big the AoE is for the spear? It's huge. It's absolutely massive, which is just plain stupid. The dash is also pretty big. I think the change in that is like, I think the change for the kick was also really good. It added more skill without removing some. So those slight changes could easily move BP up here. But right now, it's got to be down here. Do we even need to talk about Widow? Like, oh boy. And you know what? While we're here, we'll do that later. Never mind. All right, we'll go through the list. Widow's not really fun to play. Awful to play against. If you change any of the numbers on Widow, she goes from being the worst character in the game to be absolutely broke. Like, yeah, just... Actually, I probably should, but... Dude, that's just bad. Blade? I'm gonna put in numbers changes. Blade is a character that, like, they need to figure out what they want. I think Blade can be really fun, but not with how they're currently balancing. Like, they have consistently just made this character tankier instead of making him do more damage, which is, like, the fun part. Nobody picks Blade, the Vampire Slayer, because they want to live forever. Nobody does that. If you're going to do that, go play Captain America. That's what all the Captain Americas do. If you're going to do that, go play Venom, right? Go play Rogue, something like that. Don't play Blade. The Blade players want to, like, get a kill and be cool and snipe around or slash around and then swap between gun and sword and, like, do stuff. Like, stop making him so tanky and make his playstyle more fun, which I think you can do with just numbers. I don't think you need to change any of his abilities, like the core mechanics of how they work. All right, Daredevil. Oh. Daredevil's in between these two. I think a lot of the changes, like, worked. he kind of has a similar thing going as Blade, where it's like, we don't want to play Daredevil to be immortal, which is what he was on launch, but he also was able to get kills. Is it just a simple numbers change? I'm not too sure. I think a lot of Daredevil's problems actually just come from perception of the community. So many people were just completely tortured by this character on launch. He was like completely banned for so long, and I think that's still there. So anytime Daredevil shows up, whether the Daredevil is good or not, like, people are still just traumatized by it. So I don't think so. Because of that, I'm gonna put him in needs number changes. I think he's actually like decent right now as far as design goes, but I think the perception of him is probably down here. The perception is still pretty bad. So I'll probably disagree with the community on that. I'll get people like yelling at me or whatever, but that's fine. Elsa's mostly fine. He's annoying, but if you're watching for him, he isn't terrible to play against. Yeah, for sure. And the fact that for Daredevil, they nuked his survivability compared to what it was, I think really, really helped. Elsa's mostly fine. I think after the change of how long her dash takes to come back, I think it's better. I think she's still like pretty darn good. She does so much damage. I think she's very fun to play against. I don't think she's that awful to play against ever since like the nerfs. So it's better in season 7.5, but still could use a little bit. I think balance aside, which I understand is a big caveat, she has one of the most fun and fluid kits in the game. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, absolutely. She's a blast to play. Like, she has so many movement options. And I think it was pretty unbearable when it was a 2-second thing. Sorry for the Discord notification. That was me. Yeah, like, trying to chase around Elsa when she had a 2-second dash, like a dash every 2 seconds, and then the other movement abilities on top of that, plus insane damage, was pretty brutal. So after the numbers change, I think she's mostly fine. Hela, I'm gonna put Hela here. Hela's pretty fun to play. She can be kind of annoying to play against sometimes, but she does have downsides. I think she's been solidly like A tier, B tier for the most time, so she doesn't jump around too much. She'll jump between S and like high and A, right? So high S and like low A is where she jumps around, right? So it's not like too bad. I think she's just pretty good. I think she has a really high skill ceiling. Yeah, I think she's fine. Not gonna, honestly, like, not much more than that. I think not much more to say. She's just Hela, right? All right. Torch. I'll put Torch in needs number change. And actually, yeah, we're gonna add a new row. Add a row below. And we'll put it as just like white, I guess. That's not... Oops. This one. We'll put this as like purple, I guess. Or we'll just put Black Cat. Go. Okay, Torch. Torch, I think before the most recent change, I would have put him in problematic. But because of this change with the movement abilities, I think Torch is actually in a pretty good spot. I think he's much more fun to play now and much more fun to play against. He's way more active. Before, he was just kind of like always up there, always doing damage, just slightly behind cover, being annoying. And then the person who was playing him was like, I can't really do too much. I'm always on cooldown. I can't move around too much with the exception of my one ability, my F, to slam down. But if I mistime that, I'm just dead. And then, like, shooting that character was annoying, but now he's so much more interactive with the movement ability. I'm not going to put it in fine because I think it does need to be changed, like, slightly. I think it just needs to be, like, fine-tuned a little bit, and we'll probably see that in Season 8. But I think he's, like, decent. So I'm actually going to put him probably above these two. Not quite at Hela, but here, I think is fine. I'm honestly very impressed with how they changed that character. He was such a problem for so long that, like, people didn't really want to play him. Nobody wanted to play against him. If they changed any of the numbers, he went from worst character in the game to absolutely broken to worst character in the game, back to absolutely broken, back to worst character in the game. Like, it was insane. He does have a high skill ceiling, though, which is nice, and I appreciate it. Yeah. Very vulnerable to balance changes. Speaking of vulnerable to balance changes, Hawkeye. How about Hawkeye and problematic? I think resiliency to balance changes. Like, this character can easily go from best character in the game, hands down, to borderline useless. Like, just with that. It's just a classic sniper problem. Might even put him in the Widow tier, but I wouldn't go that far because we've seen him have a little bit more nuance. No, high skill ceiling. High skill ceiling. Did I say floor? I meant high skill ceiling. I may have said that wrong. But yeah, Hawkeye, his ult is pretty interesting, and I think it's actually a cool mechanic. I think it can still get countered. I think it's kind of fun to play against, but it's not great. Yeah. I think I'm putting him in problematic, and I'm not going to say too much more than that. Oh, Iron Fist. Oh, Iron Fist. Oh, Iron Fist. I don't know. Bro, I have no idea where this character is. I think he's probably similar to these three, to these two, where, like, they don't really know what they want from the character. He's been pushed into so many different roles. I think he has so much movement ability that, like, he's really fun to play, but he's kind of annoying to play against. And because of that, they just shift who has to play against him all the time. So, you know, the more I talk, the more I think I'm going to put him in problematic. Because, like, whoever, it's like a attack dog, right? Like, they just decide who has to deal with this asshole. Like, Season 0 and Season 1 was like, all right, supports, you got to deal with it. And then supports, like, threw a fit because he was so annoying to play against. So it was like, all right, guys, we'll just nuke him. And then he was just awful. And then they changed him to be like, okay, we'll make him better, but we're not going to make him against dive. You go be a tank shredder. So now all the tanks hate playing against him. He has that stupid boop mechanic, which demolishes people's movement and is really annoying to play against. I don't know. I also don't know how you fix the character. I don't know. All right, give me half a second. I need to let the dog out. All right, sorry for the delay. Okay. Iron Man. Iron Man needs some number changes. Kind of similar to Hela, where he's not that resilient. Yo, what's up, Denny? He's not that resilient. He's like, it's really easy to go from super broken to worthless on Iron Man. He's kind of fun to play, but not really as much as other characters. He's not really awful to play against, but he's kind of annoying. His skill ceiling's decent, but not as high as a lot of other characters. I might even move him down to problematic the more I keep talking. So I think with some number changes, I think he could be better. I think making him, I don't know, a little more fun, but then if you make him fun by like changing his movement to be faster, then he'll be even more annoying to play against. If he's not pocketed, he explodes a lot. Yeah. But I don't think it's like awful design, right? He's a slow-moving flying squirrel girl with a better ult. Literally, like, his ult is what like actually saves him, because his ult is high skill ceiling. I think it is actually a threat. It's fun to use. It's fun to try to dodge and play against. Like, it's fun to soak up as a Magneto or block as a Strange or Emma with the shield, or Hulk to, like, bubble somebody. Captain America can reflect it. Those are all fun. Things like that. So, yeah. It's not quite as bad, but not in a great spot. It's kind of like mid-tier. Magic. Put Magic in mostly fine. Mostly fine. She has a lot of weaknesses, which you want your character to have some weaknesses. She's kind of slow, but she's really fun to combo with and fun to play. She's not awful to play against, but playing against a good one, you do have to change your stuff. I agree with Jake. I think the dash could be a little smaller. I think she has a very high skill ceiling, which is good. I don't think it takes a lot to like break this character. Magic's not a character that you see like she got 25 more health and now she's broken, or she lost 25 health and now she's useless. So I wouldn't put her in there. I think she's mostly fine. So pretty solid, like just good character design. Yeah. Yeah. Mr. Fantastic, problematic for sure. Like, this character's definitely problematic. Mostly because of the DPS role. Like, if you make him do more damage, then you have to remove his survivability. If you remove some of his survivability, then you have to make him do more damage. Like, I don't understand what they want from this character. They literally put, like, an immovable, unkillable Fridge into the DPS role. I don't understand it. At the very least, like, this is problematic until they figure out what they want from the character. I think they could probably try to get a little more creative with the stretch mechanics. So either move him into tank and just have him be a tank, which would be fine, or remove some of his survivability and have the stretch mechanics lead into him being faster creatively. Like, maybe he stretches, like he has a move where he stretches across the map and like pulls himself there, right? So like reaches out to here and then pulls himself across the map. Something like that. Because then you could remove some of his survivability and make him a DPS. But then you're completely nuking him as a character. That would be kind of almost a complete rework of how the character is. So until they decide what they want, he's just in this weird spot of definitely being problematic. Okay, controversial pick. I think Doomfist, or Doomfist. I think he's fine. I think Moon Knight's fine. Very controversial. I think that, like, with slight number changes, it doesn't bump him up. I think he can be pretty fun to play. I think he's not too awful to play against. I think people are just bad and don't know how to use cover. I think, I don't think we see too big of swings in the tier list of like how good he is based on challenges. The one thing that keeps me from putting in great design is just the fact that like you need, like, honestly, just the skill that's required to play this character is not as high as other characters. And the value that you get from being bad on Moon Knight is much higher than the value that you get from being bad on other characters. But I think he has weaknesses. I think that he is a lot less useful than people think. I'm definitely going to get fried by Plat Redditors. Absolutely. But that's okay. Because then they can, go watch my reviews and see that all you have to do for Moon Knight is use cover. And it only works if everybody's using cover, right? And you can also dive this character pretty easily. Like, if you dive on Moon Knight, he's actually terrible. Like, he doesn't have too much to survive. And the only way he can really survive is being by pocketed, but then he still has to move. And so then you're taking 2 people out of the fight if you're diving him, and he's not really going to be able to kill you too much if you're moving with him because he can't put his longs down and do stuff. So he has weaknesses. I think he's fine. I'm not going to move him any higher than this because he does that. He does need, everything we talked about. Namor, I'm going to put in numbers changes. Probably here. He's kind of similar to Hela, where like high skill ceiling, pretty fun to play, not too bad to play against, has a good ult, that high skill ceiling ult. He's pretty resilient to balance changes, with one asterisk of he's kind of a team up merchant, so depending on the team ups he can be pretty brutal, but it's not too bad. I think that he does have a bit of a problem where like it's more of a perception of like the community doesn't really know what to do with this character at low rank. They just think he's like this anti-dive character. That's not really what he is. He certainly can fulfill the role of anti-dive, but it's not where he shines. His primary is kind of difficult to use, and like the spears, and there's like all these like weird extra effects that people don't really know about. And where he really shines is like comboing all of his abilities together, which I think is good design. I think mostly what his problem is just perception of the community. Might even move him up. The only reason I'm not putting him here is just because of the team ups. His team ups are so they're so insane. Like having the team up in there, like the Gamma team up for Hulk, was like he went from being decent to like absolutely broken. Having the Hela team up, he goes from being pretty good to like really good. So that volatility I don't think is good. We're coming to a common theme of like whenever there's team ups, it makes this a lot more difficult to balance. All right, Phoenix. I'm gonna put Phoenix here. No, here. I'm gonna put Phoenix here. I think Phoenix can be pretty decent. I don't like that they've removed her melee brawl play style. I think that was cool that she could do both. I think she's not awful to play against for the most part, but she does hard counter some characters. I think she's just a bit strong, but I don't think it's a character design problem. I think if you change some of the numbers, change some of the cooldowns, and adjust things slightly, then I think all of the problems that people have playing against this character completely go away. I think she definitely has a high skill ceiling, even though they lowered it, which is kind of annoying. I think she's fun to play. Yeah, I think she's solid. Uncontestable Poe character. I don't agree with that. She's definitely contestable. I think it requires a tank to do it, but she's definitely contestable. She's now the most redundant character on the roster. Interesting. She feels just like a more mobile Hela. Right. Exactly. That's why I hate that they removed the like melee brawl style that you could play with Phoenix. Because before you had Hela for long range, Phoenix for up close personal, like kind of can fill both roles and do both, right? I'm touching on DPS though, like Magic versus Phoenix is a losing matchup. Yes, but that can be fixed with just simple number changes and not with character redesigns. She's just a little bit OP currently. Oh, yeah. Does that make sense? Yeah, I think I really, honestly, before that change, I would have put her like way up here. But because of that change and how that affected her, I don't like it. I'm not a fan of removing skill from characters. Not at all. Okay, Psylocke. Yikes. Oh, I don't know. Okay, before we put Psylocke anywhere, let's talk about each one, right? Psylocke is fun to play. She's sometimes awful to play against, and sometimes not. She is very versatile, like volatile on the tier list with balance changers. She can go from being absolutely completely broken to being like mid-tier but just a ult farmer to being like borderline useless, depending on how NetEase is feeling that week, right? So a very delicate balance with Psylocke, which probably indicates that there's a problem going on. It's kind of the Iron Fist situation again, where it's just like, yeah. I don't think that I've ever felt that being killed by a Psy was unfair. Maybe the ult in its prime. Bro, the ult was awful. Like, yeah. That whole season, Psylocke was a complete menace to everybody. She demolished tanks. She won just about every single 1v1 with the DPS. She demolished all supports. Her ult was insanely broken. Like, that hints at some design problems. Once again, though, I don't know how you would change Psylocke. I think changing the consistency of her primary fire would probably help. But I'm not sure. That was when they nerfed her neutral, though? No, so that was right before that. Before they nuked. So what I'm talking about was the season before they nerfed her neutral. Because she had all of it and a crazy neutral. That was crazy. I could be wrong, but I just remember Psylocke being an absolute menace for like multiple seasons in a row. S tier in every metric. Yeah. Scarlet Witch is bad. Not as bad as the other two, but terrible. Like, her primary fire needs to be completely reworked. Her ult, as is just boring and not good and slow moving, easy to counter, not fun to use, not great. Like, requires insane team combo potential. I don't know. I am wrong, but neutral was nerfed twice before ult. Yeah. Yeah, Scarlet Witch just once her primary fire gets completely reworked, then you can adjust the stun and the ult to be better or worse, or you can adjust them. But like, until that's reworked, this character is just going to be like stupid. She's kind of like Penny in the fact that, like, depending on your elo, people think this is the worst character in the game, or she's the best character in the game. So it's just, I think that speaks to bad character design. I don't think she's very fun to play. I don't think she's fun to play against. She's like kind of annoying, but she's not awful. If you buff that character, she'd be completely broken. If you nerf her, she'd be even more useless. She doesn't have a high skill ceiling. Just, we're leaving it there. Oh, Spider-Man. Hot take. I think Spider-Man's fine. Again, kind of like with Moon Knight, where he has downsides. He has incredibly high skill ceilings. He's very fun to play. He can be awful to play against, but depending on the team ups and the balance, if you bring that in, I think it can be kind of fun. He's pretty fair. I think all of the supports in the game have tools to deal with the Spider-Man, barring like maybe like Ultron. Maybe. I'm not sure. But honestly, like, not bad. Spidey is low-key a skill issue for the enemy team. Yeah, and like a good Spidey can play around counters, but there's like this rock, paper, scissors that comes with playing Spidey. And you see a lot of games where at the very beginning of the game, the Spidey is like demolishing, but then the enemy team adjusts because it's good character design because you can adjust to it, right? You take advantage of the downtime where Spidey's not there. You fight the 5v6. When Spidey does show up, you use hard CC to cancel him, or you shoo him away, and then you go back to winning the 5v6. Ultron has dash, and he's usually in triple support, so you should be okay if supports look at him. Yeah, like with teamwork, you can play well against Spidey. I think he's mostly fine. I can't put him in great design because having a character with like that high of mobility can always be scary in a game where like not everybody has access to that mobility, but he's still pretty good. Squirrel Girl is somewhere in between here. Another character that like is completely useless at high elo and completely broken in low elo. I think objectively the character design just is not good. Having any character where the projectile is so slow that it's almost impossible to aim is not good. So because she has such high damage, you can't make it easier for her to hit her shots. So it's an unwinnable scenario. You can't balance around it. Honestly, the more I talk, the more I need to put it down here. Not as bad as Scarlet Witch, but like it's same mode. I think her movement sucks. She's super easy to die. She doesn't have the tools that she needs. And like, as long as you change the primary fire, you rework the primary fire, that gives you access to do all sorts of things with movement options and running on walls or whatever else. Her ult is also terrible. It can just break. Not fun to play against, not fun to use. It's super RNG heavy. Not a good character. Not good character design at all. Absolutely. Star-Lord? I think Star-Lord's somewhere in here. I'll put him in mostly fine. I think he has very strong downsides as a character. Very strong weaknesses that you can exploit. I think he has great teamwork potential. I think he's fun to play. I don't think many people hate playing against Star-Lords. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe in low elo people do. But even in low elo, that character takes a lot of skill anyway. So it shouldn't be too big of a problem. We don't see Star-Lord jump from S tier to D tier back to S tier. That's not really usually a problem. Definitely high skill ceiling. He does have good combo potential. He's also counterable. So usually what happens is a Star-Lord will be destroying, but then you swap over to like, you know, Mag. You swap over to some hit scan characters, some stun, and you have, you know, some extra survivability in the back line. So you play some more mobile characters, have a little bit of CC. I think he's fine. I think has counters, and I think he's in a pretty good spot. Not amazing, but just fine. Storm's problematic, I think. Probably Star-Lord is probably one of the most fair DPS in the game. That's true. Yeah, I would agree. I put Star-Lord up here. Storm is definitely problematic. She's pretty bad. She's borderline needs rework. I might just do it. Yeah, I'm gonna do it. She needs a rework. It's so confusing to have characters that are split between roles, where she's so team dependent that if you make her good on her own, then that on top of giving everybody speed boost and damage boost is way too much. But then if you make if you remove the speed boost, damage boost completely, then now she's just directly competing with Iron Man and Torch and the other flyers, right? Like where it's like, what's really the point? But she's not super fun to play. She's super slow. Her skills are not fun. They're all really delayed. So like her big right click, it takes forever to actually hit, and it's really hard to hit. And when it does hit, it doesn't do too much. Her primary fire is really slow projectile. Not very intuitive. Just not fun. She's not fun to play against. Having the damage boost against you is annoying. She's just kind of always floating there. She gets a ton of like extra damage just from being near you, which is kind of stupid. It's not really like counterable. It's just kind of something you have to deal with instead and like expect to take more damage. I don't know. Not great. Yeah. Punisher, yeah, I wanted to put Punisher up here, but purely because of the shotgun, I'm going to put him down here. The shotgun is the one thing that's like, holy shit, this is annoying. Dude, shotgun Punisher like completely invalidates half of the tank cast. A good shotgun Punisher is so annoying. He's also really annoying to play against if his numbers aren't correctly tuned. Shotgun is illegal. Dude, it's scary. And like balancing the shotgun is another thing because you can't have it do too little damage or else there's no reason to pull it out. So shotgun is the one thing that's really holding that character back. Yeah, the shotgun is just insane. Everything else I'm completely fine with. The character can be fun. He has a lot of different options. He has very strong downsides, right? He doesn't have a lot of movement unless you're really insane with the things. So he has a high skill ceiling. You don't really see Punisher like move around too much during balance changes. I think it's fine. Like not one tap? Yeah, not one tapping would be fine. But you know, honestly, if you turn the shotgun into a slug and make it consistent, it'd be much easier to balance around. Like, turn it into Dokubi's shotgun from Rainbow Six Siege. A slug. So shotguns, usually shotguns shoot pellets. So they shoot like, in most video games, it's like 6 to 8. It's like 6 to 8 pellets, right? And they spread out. And then each pellet does a certain amount of damage. A slug is just one big bullet. And so it does a ton of damage and it's accurate, but it's like slow moving and stuff like that. So it's still a shotgun, but it's actually consistent. So a lot of the reasons that like shotguns in video games are really hard to balance is because of that spread mechanic. Because when you have 8 pellets that all do, I don't know, like 20 damage or whatever the number is. I'm just throwing out numbers, so it's not going to be accurate. But if you're really close and all 8 of those pellets hit, that's 160 damage. And then if that's headshots, that kills. Again, numbers not accurate. But if you only hit half of those because they spread out really fast, not because of you weren't on target, but because they spread out really fast, then you're literally doing half damage. So it feels really inconsistent. If that makes sense. Yeah. So if you change that into a slug, I think that would really help. Buckster. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I think I'm going to leave him in needs number changes. Let's talk about it, right? He's pretty fun to play. He's borderline awful to play against. He is decently resilient. He usually floats around A tier, doesn't go too far down, doesn't go too far up. He does have a high skill ceiling. So let's talk about the problems. He is annoying to play against. He has so many different slow effects. He has so many different displacement effects. He can live for a long time. I think the spell field is too forgiving. I think, yeah. He's interesting. He's also like kind of a menace depending on the map and the meta. I think they are working to address it though. So, yeah, interesting. He's a better bruiser now and a worse bodyguard, which I think is healthier. Yeah. I think before I would have put him in problematic. But with the changes, it's better. The orbs need to have 2 effects, but not both at the same time. So flyers get grounded, but not slowed. Yeah, dude, the slow mechanic is so annoying to play against. This is Oblivion music. And it's Piece of Akatosh. Yeah, his slow effects are just so annoying. They're not fun to use and they're not fun to play against. Wolverine, definitely problematic. Wolverine is one of these characters that's just like, he goes from being S tier broken, ban him every single game, to being like C tier, borderline useless throw pick. It happens constantly. He's very fun to play. He's not fun to play against at all. He does have a high skill ceiling, but like, it's just, that's 3 out of 4 are just negative for Wolverine. Longer cooldown. I don't know. He might even need a complete rework, because the whole mechanic of like trapping or kidnapping tanks just makes the game unplayable for the tank, and I don't think there's a way to balance that out. I don't think you can balance that out at all. I don't think it's possible. I think that mechanic needs to be changed. I think it's a lot easier on Angela because she's a tank and it makes more sense. But because he's a DPS, like, he's really hard to kill. He like, tank shredders in general are hard to balance. Shorten the stun after kidnap at least. That might work. That might work. His ult is also really... the ult's decent now. It's... And then, like, with the CC changes, now because of that, like... I don't know if you guys looked at Auntie's CC document where he goes through everything, but if you look at Wolverine, he has, like, the highest CC counts of, like, any character in the game, I think. Like, all of his abilities just do crazy amounts of CC. It's really annoying because they all have different stages. Because not only is it like pick up, take, and then drop, and then stun. Like, it's quite insane. So, yeah, I would put Wolverine down here. Just in terms of character design. Oh boy, now we're at strategists. We're at supports. Oh boy. All right, let's start it off well. Yeah, here we go. All right, guys. Here, I can't go that high, but I will put him in mostly fine. I think Adam's actually good character design. I think he has movement. I think he's hard to kill. I think he has very strong downsides. I think it requires your team to play differently, but I think he has very high upsides. Oh, shoot. I think the ult is really hard to balance, but I think it's in a decent spot right now. I think his movement is really fun. I think it's hard to play against. I have played against a good Adam that makes the movement like seem really good. I think right now, I think it's a skill issue with Adam. I think, yeah. Yeah, I think he's decent. I think he's a well-designed character because he has high highs and low weak points. I think he's fun to play. Don't think he's awful to play against. I don't see him move around a ton on the tier list. Maybe a little bit. He has a really high skill ceiling. You see people who are amazing with Adam, they can put out a lot of healing numbers. They can completely cancel like 6 ults that the enemy team uses if they're good enough to like res in a good spot. You know the map well. Yeah. People are going to hate it, but I think it's fine. Cloak and Dagger? Okay, Cloak and Dagger we gotta talk about. This one's really interesting. Let's go down the list for Cloak and Dagger. Fun to play. I see a lot of people who enjoy playing Cloak and Dagger. The reason I didn't put low skill floor in this is because I don't think it's necessary, as long as some people in the game have a low skill floor, and Cloak fulfills that role, which is nice. They're not awful to play against anymore now that the ult charge nerf came through and her ult duration nerf came through, right? Because now it's only 11 seconds instead of 13. So if you have a Loki, that goes from 26 seconds of invincibility to only 22, which is a lot better. It's still counterable. It doesn't happen as often as it used to. So it's not bad. Resiliency and change the meta balance. She's always been like A tier. She doesn't really have a high skill ceiling though. But she fulfills the niche role, because this is Marvel, of giving a lot of people an entry point. Like, you can just get on and you can have a relaxing night and you can play Cloak and Dagger and just have a good time and help your team. So I will put her in mostly fine. Mostly fine. I think it's okay to have a character like this in the game. I think it's counterable. I don't think it's too bad. It does, however, have a different problem where people try to branch out from Cloak, but then they develop a lot of like really bad aiming habits. So that's not good for the overall health of the game in that way, but that's the trade-off that Marvel Rivals chose to make by talking about, by having, how do I say this? By focusing on bringing a lot of people into the game and making it very easy, having low skill floors, right? Being a casual, friendly game. I think that goal is very well accomplished with that character. I don't like the high heals. Time to kill make it impossible to play Cloak. He feels like a sidekick to Dagger, not a pair. Yeah, but that's more of that's like a lore problem, right? Like if we're making a how well does the hero fit their hero genre counterpart, like that would be different. What's up, Chaotism? Okay, Gambit. I think Gambit's actually great. No, I don't. The ult. I forgot about the ult. I'm sorry. I forgot about the ult. The ult is the ult's a problem. If the ult had one less effect in it, then I'd be okay with putting him in great design. So he's fun to play. He's not terrible to play against. He's not awful to play against. Sometimes it can be annoying, but not too bad. Resilience to change. He's always pretty good. He has a very high skill ceiling. Good neutral ult. Like, I think it's fine. But yeah, the ult energy battery is a problem. I think it also having a cleanse is a problem. I don't think it's healthy to have that. So I think it's mostly fine. I think we just need to change not even the ult as a whole, not even the numbers, just like one aspect. One aspect of the ult. Honestly, we might even need to bump him down just because of that. Like, the ult is just so annoying. But I don't know. I'm going to keep him up here. I'm going to keep him up here for now. This might change. Too easy to just shut down entire archetypes. Also, Gambit really should have off healer numbers. He has so much utility. True. Imagine how much more skill expression there would be if the ult didn't cleanse. Like, you actually had to use his cleanse card. Yeah, I completely agree. I completely agree. Bottom of fine? Okay, I could be convinced to move him. Well, I like his character design more than Cloak, though. I do. I think it just needs a little bit of change to the ult, and then it's fine. It doesn't need much to change it. All right, next, Invis. Ooh. All right. I said it. I think Invis is a great design. I think she's good. I think she's a good design. I think she's fun to play. I don't think she's too awful to play against, especially with the recent changes, right? Not Season 6. This is not Season 6 anymore. This is Season 7.5. I think she doesn't bounce too high. She's always pretty solid. I think she has some weaknesses. She doesn't have as much range. She has to play a little bit closer. Her self-shield isn't as bad. And if she uses that self-shield incorrectly, we see Invis get punished for that all the time. So she can really like get punished for playing bad. She does have a high skill ceiling. Her ult can be messed up really easily. Like, there's a lot of variability with that character. I think she's actually healthy for the game. I think with some slight numbers with some slight number changes, I think she'd be absolutely perfect. It was still awful to play against. I don't think she crosses that threshold of awful. She can be annoying, but it's more like something you have to deal with, right? It's less like, you know. She also gives you big playmaker moments as a support, for sure, for sure. Yeah. So yeah, great design. I actually really like Invis's design. Very high skill ceiling. I love it. I'm very biased towards high skill ceiling characters, so. Jeff. Oh, God. Oh, God. Bro, I'm gonna get fried for this. I don't know. She also gives you a big player, which feels like, yeah. Okay, Jeff is problematic. He's very fun to play, but he's not fun to play against at all. He's not fun to play against DPS Jeff or regular Jeff. His ult is so annoying for the enemy team and for your team. It's not very good. He can go from being super broken to being useless on the balance change, absolutely. He does have a high skill ceiling, but his skill floor, I don't know, man. I think this character is just, he's very hard to balance as well. He's very hard to balance. And I think we've seen so many like bad Jeffs, especially in like Guess the Rank, where it's and am I the problem? Absolutely. Bro, it's I can't put him any higher than problematic. I just can't. I've seen Jeff Main say that ult should ground people. Oh my Lanta. Why don't you just press Q and everybody on the server dies except for Jeff, no matter where they are? Why not, right? It's Jeff. That's what he does. This is stupid. Problematic character. Until they change a lot about this character, he's just going to be impossible to balance. All right, Loki. I'm going to put Loki up here. I think Loki's I may even put him on good design. And we'll talk about this, but he's fun to play. He's not too terrible to play against. It's kind of fun tracking down where Loki is and like getting all of his cooldowns out. And there's also that like RPS of the, or like the baiting out of the Loki runes, so you can do that. He's pretty resilient to changes in the meta and the balance. He has a very high skill ceiling. The problem is his ult. His ult can be like very inconsistent. I just wish Loki had more ability to mind game people. That's true. All right, Churro, what's holding it back from being top tier? I think he has good design. He inherently says double it and give it to the next person. Okay, that's true. That's very true. Okay, because of that, I'm moving him down to mostly fine. Above Gambit, but mostly fine. You're actually right, because anytime there's a problematic in the ult, anytime there's a problematic ult in the game, Loki just doubles it. You're absolutely right. But everything else about his kit I love so much. But because of how his ult is, that's a larger game design issue though? I don't think so, because it's localized to his ult. He's the only ult in the game that like can literally double down and make somebody else's ult. Yeah, that's really good. You're 100% right, Churro. Good stuff. All right, Luna. I don't know. I'm gonna put Luna here. She's fun to play. She's not too bad to play against. She does bounce around a little bit more, but she's very overtuned. She does have a high skill ceiling, but yeah, she does so much DPS right now. She's basically a triple support only person, which is kind of insane. If you think about how far we've come from like Loki Luna meta to now she's like stepping in as an Ultron role or like a DPS Jeff role, which is really weird. Luna below Cloak is insane to me. You're probably right. But I mean, you have to listen to why I put Cloak there. Cloak is a special case. So I don't know. I think if Luna's balance was slightly different, I'd be better with putting her up here. But the fact that she's so DPS heavy right now is goofy. But at the same time, she's pretty fun to play against, right? Like, there's a lot of counterplay. A lot of counterplay. So I could be convinced to put her here. Mostly fine. Somewhere in between this. Mantis? Hot take. Another hot take. I think Mantis is good game design. Flame me alive for it. I don't care. I think she's actually good game design. I think she has very strong strongs. She has ample weaknesses, but you can overcome them with skill and with team play and things like that. She's very fun to play against. I don't think anybody hates playing against Mantis. I think she's always like fairly decent. She has a very high skill ceiling. I think the game needs to move to Mantis level more than anything. Absolutely. 100%. 100%. Mantis is good game design. I will die on this hill. I think she has... I despise playing against Mantis. I think she's fun. I think she completely changes the game when she's in the game. But not in a bad way. Because she makes it harder for some people and better for some people. It's just... It like completely changes. It's not just... Oh, like when an Angela or a Wolverine is in the game... Everybody on the Angela and Wolverine's team can play the exact same, but everybody on the whole enemy team has to play different. When a Mantis is in the game, everybody has to play different. We all have to adjust. And I think that's good and healthy for the game. It's a whole nother avenue. All right. Rocket. Oh, dude. Rocket is kind of by Jeff here. I might even put Rocket in needs a complete rework. He's just such a stable, like... I don't... Yeah, I might put him in problematic. Yeah, he doesn't... His skill ceiling's not very high. The aim is not crazy. I think the mechanic, the BRB mechanic, res, is just stupid. I think you can get so much value on Rocket on pretty much anywhere below Celestial because your team is stupid, and you can just take that stupid person and make them respawn way faster. And like, people can play stupid. I don't think that's good. I think it's really bad. Like, Res Beacon is so good. And then his ult is in a better situation now, but they don't know what they want from it. I think his kit is not... It's just not well designed. I think the only part about him that's decent is his movement. I think the movement's fun. It can be fun to chase a Rocket around. And the whole time you're chasing Rocket around, he's also not healing. So there's this, like... cool gameplay mechanic where if you're chasing a Rocket around, the better you chase him around, the less he can heal, even though you're not killing him. So that can be really fun. That is like easily the best part of his kit, and that's why I'm not going to put him in needs complete rework. But yeah, I can't put him any higher than that for sure. He's definitely problematic. Like the whole Res Beacon, his primary fire, his secondary fire, all needs to be looked at. Ultron? I think Ultron's fine. I think Ultron's fine. I think he adds a different element to the game that most people don't, that like no other character really does. I think he's pretty fun to play. He can be kind of annoying to play against, but there is the downside of having, you know, less burst healing for the enemy team, which can be nice. At the same time, that having two drones can kind of break things in triple support at the highest of high levels, right? We're talking like Okami levels. Can do that, but I think it's fine. I think he has plenty of downsides as well. I think he's just fine. Not much else to say there. Ooh, White Fox. I think White Fox is great. I think White Fox is actually fantastic game design. She has very strong strongs and very weak weaknesses, right? If you're bad with White Fox, you're not going to get much healing. Melee form can out-sustain if ult. Yeah, but it's a 15-second cooldown, and it has a couple conditions that you need to do. Oh, the Charm. All right, Charm, you're right. I'll bring Charm down just because of Charm. But when we talk about the melee form only works if you're fighting against a person that's right next to it, right? Somebody that's right next to you, you can do a ton of healing. But if you're playing against a really mobile team, now you actually have to fight to stay in the fight, which is putting yourself and your team in danger if you can't do it right? So not bad. She has a lot of playmaking potential with the melee form, with the charms, with her ult especially. I think her primary fire is vastly misunderstood, which is why she gets a bad rep, because she doesn't do as much healing as other characters, especially if you're not hitting your shots. So, yeah. But the charm can be so annoying. The charm definitely crosses the line of being awful to play against. So for that one thing, everything else is fine, but the charm is just so annoying in the way that it disrupts people. You get charmed every like 5 or 6 seconds, cancels ults, does a lot, doesn't take a lot of skill, also has like 6 effects or whatever. Like it pierces, it does damage, it does burst healing. I think it gives like some CC invulnerability for half a second, and it charms and stuns people. Like that's a lot. So if it wasn't for that charm, I would put her in great design. But because of charm, have to move them down. Full invincibility. There you go. Well, that's why. Because charm does all of those things. Hulk's only does like one of those. Charm is literally all of Hulk's abilities in one. Literally all of them in one, which is insane. All right, Deadpool. I think Deadpool is gonna go in the Black Cat tier. Black Cat's just weird. Deadpool's weird. I don't even know if I want to do this. Like, I don't know. I don't like Deadpool in general. I think he's annoying. I mean, you guys have probably heard my rant on Deadpool already. Like, his voice lines are annoying. His covering up of the screen, I think, is absolutely terrible. I think having to spend 3 bans on Deadpool is weird. I think having a character that does 3 different roles is weird, but it's not necessarily bad because it helps people flex in a game that's not role queue. Dude, I didn't even know where to put Deadpool at all. Like, I think his kit's not too annoying, with the caveat, like, the actual kit's not too annoying, except for the thing that, like, covers it. Like, the thing that covers your screen, I absolutely hate. I think this game is already hard enough to track what's going on without that bullshit. I hate that aspect. Do you think the multi-role makes this kit worse design? Not necessarily. Not necessarily. But it's one of those things that, like, I literally don't know how to characterize it. Which I think is the point of Deadpool, right? He's always fourth wall breaking, doesn't fit in anywhere. Like, I think that's where we're just going to have to leave it. It's almost uniform besides the bubble. Yeah. They do all play differently, and they do different things. So I literally just can't do... I can't put him. I can't put him anywhere. He's going to be his own thing, just like Black Cat. They're just going to be in their own tier. So, yeah, that is how I view people's character design. And honestly, I didn't think it was this bad. I thought there would be a lot more characters up here. The fact that there's this many characters in problematic and needs complete rework is not good. Now that I put it all out here, that's not good. I do want to look at like how characters have moved though, right? Let's see. These characters have been here basically since their release. Thor actually got worse because of the kidnap. Psylocke probably got worse since release. All of these characters have been here since the beginning. Okay. Let's see. These characters... Phoenix got worse. Punisher got better because of the Rocket team-up went away. Once the Rocket team-up went away, it was so much better. Torch got better. He recently moved up. Blade's been in the same spot. Daredevil moved up, so that's good. Bucky moved up a little bit, so that's good. Ultron moved up a little bit. Luna moved down. Cloak about the same. Gambit moved up because of the nerfs, but he still has a ways to go. Loki's been the same. Adam moved up a lot. Elsa, Spidey probably moved. No, he's about the same. Emma moves up a lot. She used to be really hard to deal with. So they've moved people in good directions. I wonder why you said DPS Jeff is broken. He's broken from a design standpoint because he's not fun to play against. He doesn't like play with his team. He's just plain annoying, like absolutely game breaking in all of the worst ways. Like all of the stuff about Jeff is just completely unhealthy. Shooting across the entire map and healing everybody and being absolutely brain dead is not good for the game. Jeff and Rocket both have that in common. Season 0 Spidey with the Venom team up was really brain dead. Yeah, the Venom team up, the Shine got brutal.